Okay, here's numbers 30 and 32 from the review on quadratics. So we've got two different equations. Let's start with number 30. 30 is x squared equals 4x. So when you have a problem like this, you can see we got an x squared term, but we also have an x term. So we have a variable raised to the second power and then just a regular variable raised to the first power. Whenever you have an equation like this, first thing you need to do is make it equal 0. So what I'm going to do is I need to move this 4x to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. So when I do that, I've now got x squared minus 4x, because those are not like terms. So it's not like it's negative 3x or anything like that. I can't subtract those. Over here, 4x minus 4x is 0. They're gone. Now from here, there's a couple ways you could go about solving this equation. You could solve it by completing the square. You could solve it by factoring. I'm going to solve it by factoring because I think that's really easy. So when I look at x squared and minus 4x, is there something I could factor out of both of those? In this case, yes, I could factor an x out. So when I take out an x, this now becomes x minus 4. I divided each of those terms by x, and now I have x times x minus 4 equals 0. And now from here, I can just split it into two equations, because I know this is saying x times x minus 4 is 0. And that means one of those has to be 0, because when we multiply two things together to get 0, one of the things must be 0. So I know either x equals 0 or x minus 4 equals 0. I solve this little one by adding 4, and I get x equals 4. So I know my answer is x equals 0 or x equals 4. So let's look at our other one. 5x squared equals 125. So this problem, there's no x term. Unlike this one where we had that 4x there, there's no x term here. So I could just solve this as if this was just 5x. So I'm not even going to imagine that's the x squared. I'll worry about that when I get to it. So if this just said 5x equals 125 and I was going to solve, I would divide by 5. I'm going to do the same thing here. Divide by 5, I've got x squared equals 125 divided by 5 is 25. Now you can see we got x squared equals 25. And to solve an equation, when you have x squared equals a number, you do the opposite. You do the square root. So this would be the square root of x squared equals the square root of 25. So that means x is going to equal, and if you remember, anytime we have one of these problems, it's going to be plus or minus. So x equals plus or minus 5. All right, so there's 30 and 32 from the review. Any questions, please email me.